Really good atmosphere in the Dugan today. I think our team came out, ready to play, which was nice to see, and really focused. We had a couple keys that we were going to work on as a group, and I think they did an outstanding job of that. It was back and forth. It was really close, especially sets 1 and 2. I think Northwestern State does some good things that challenge us left side, middle, right, all the way across the net. And so I'm proud to see how we handled some of the adversity, but kind of kept ourselves either, tied or just barely in the lead, and then pulled away when we needed to. So that was really good. And I think, our experience kicked in critical situations. We didn't give away runs of 3 or 4 points today. It was maybe 2 points at the most, occasionally 3, but nothing that lasted more than a few. So.
Yeah, this matchup's been pretty tight in recent seasons. Just what was it really today that you think stood out and made that difference?
I mean, the home crowd definitely helps. I think there's benefits of being at home, with sleep and rest and being in your own bed and everything. But the crowd and the band and the cheerleading squad combined all really help us. And you can kind of feel that as you're, on the floor, that people want us to win, which is nice. I think the other one, honestly, is like leadership from, I think Leah, Kendall Payne, Alex, those three, I think really played consistent. They didn't, play too high. They didn't play too low. They just kind of kept us going the way that we need to. And, when things weren't going our way, they were genuinely like, hey, just give me the ball. We'll be fine. So I think the leadership from those three really helped us.
Yeah, I think you guys did a really good job in the side-out game and the point score game, especially tonight. It felt like you guys were siding out quick, and each server was going back serving at least 2 most of the time. Is that something you guys have been working on, or was that a focus for you?
It's always a focus for us. I would say lately, we did the working on without working on strategy, where it's like we know we're good in serve receive. We know we're capable of controlling the ball, so let's purposely not practice it, so that it becomes a mental exercise of, hey, let's just relax and play. I think sometimes you can overdo that and focus so much on the reps that your brain kind of gets in the way, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I think it worked well today, so we'll probably continue with that.
Yeah, one thing that almost every away coach, I think, mentions when they're talking about scouting you guys is like how fast of a tempo you guys run and that sort of thing, and trying to run middles and transition against you. I think that was pretty successful in the first set for Northwestern State. How did you guys kind of shut that down, or do you do any blocking schemes? Is it more getting them out of system on serving, or?
Yeah, I mean, we try to get out of system serving. I thought they passed pretty well for most of the day, which made it harder. But, we do have some blocking schemes. We're trying to take away certain areas of the court with block, and we're trying to force them to hit other areas. I think it took us a little bit to kind of figure out where to be. I think Leah's really experienced and kind of knows what we want there. Caitlin Bauman, our other middle, was a little bit delayed in making some of those moves, but once they figured it out, I think partway through the second set, Caitlin Bauman figured it out, and the rest of the way, I think we handled their middles well. And then obviously our transition game is pretty good and tough to beat full speed. So
yeah, Leah, can you talk a little bit about just your mentality as an attacker? You see a lot of you barreling in, and you'll hit a cutback shot across your body, or you'll do more of a placement over power, sometimes even a deep roll shot or a short tip or a power tip. What's your internal thought process when you're making some of those plays and switching it up?
I think whenever I'm going in and I see 1, 2 blockers up, then I'm just thinking score, find some open space on the court. And we went, even when we scouted the team before the match, we were focusing a lot on what they were doing, but also just on how we could score around them, and kind of facing one way, going the opposite, and just taking advantage of the good sets that I get from Alex, the great digs that I get. I mean, it's kind of hard for me not to score when everyone else is giving their all the whole time.
Yeah, we talked after Thursday night's game about how much you guys really do utilize the middle position with you and Caitlin, especially these last few games. Just talk about that connection with, y'all are on the court at the same time, but to perform pretty similarly. Y'all ended with the same hitting today. So talk about just that and, just the middle offense.
Well, I think Caitlin has really stepped up whenever we need her. And like even these past few games, you can see even on the scouting report, it's so obvious that she's such a big part of the offense now. And it's so cool to see her really take that role and run with it and play her own game. I think we learn a lot from each other, but I also think we're very different players, which can be really good for our team to have such unique positions, and I think that can be more challenging for other teams because we are different but also similar in a lot of ways.
My last question, kind of about new players too. We saw Hadley Berger on the right side today. She did a great job stepping up. She's kind of been fluid in that position in the back row as well. Kind of like she got some early kills in the set too. Like what does she bring to the court, and does it feel any different when she's in versus like what your regular lineup would be?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think Hadley, being a freshman's hard, on the court, having so much responsibility, but I think Hadley really takes it and is just confident when she goes up there. She obviously has times when, like every freshman has, that you kind of duck your head and don't look, but also there's so many times where you can just see the gears turning in her head, and it's really exciting to see. I don't really feel like there's much of a difference between Riley A., who is usually on our right side, and then Hadley today. I think they're both great players and they add different things to the game, but nothing that would change the game completely.
I agree. It looks very calm with her still, even with this switch.
Yeah, what was your just thought process going into the game, playing Hadley in the right side with Riley out today?
Yeah, and with Riley out, we've got lots of options, and discussed it with the staff, and we went with Hadley. There's some other things we could have done and we thought about, but we trust what she brings to the court, and her mentality is pretty similar to when Leah was a freshman, when Kendall Payne was a freshman, where it's just like, all right, I'll go do my thing well. She's a tough attacker to defend because she's got the ability to go sharp cross. She can tool down the line. She has a really fast arm, and so I think that's tough for people to defend against. And so she trusts herself, and we trust her. And so really, it's it's one of those where we know what she's capable of, and since she hasn't attacked too often during the season, I think it's hard for teams to see that difference and prepare for it. So as we go and the season continues, we're going to need lots of options through the rest of the regular season and into the conference tournament. So I'm excited to see her do well and feel the success.
Finished out the busy three match week, ended it with a sweep as if y'all didn't miss a step. You have to go on the road next week and play these exact two teams again. Just that's different this year than it has been in the past, where you play everyone once before you play them again. So, what's that going to look like next week? Just having to play these two teams right after each other.
Yeah, I think I think the positive is you kind of know what to expect. You know what they're good at. How they challenged us, and even more direct than just watching on film. And I think that showed up with both of these teams. Honestly, Commerce did some things against us that we didn't necessarily see on film, and then so did Northwestern State. And so now we kind of know what they're trying to do against us. Doesn't mean they won't change again next week, but we'll do the same. We'll make some adaptations on our end. But I think level of play, understanding competition, I think both their coaching staffs did a good job preparing their teams, and so hopefully we can do the same. And I know our players are able to compete against anybody. We trust them to do a lot, and so we'll see how next week comes. And excited. It's that one's a relatively smooth road trip. It's just 2 matches, no more 3 during the week. So we're excited for it.
What are just some more positives you expect out of this team as we continue through the conference?
Yeah, we've had it's interesting. We started the season, really dialed in, so much experience returning, and even though we played 3 of the top teams, honestly, in the country with Oklahoma and A&M and then Nebraska, and having to deal with that, right away. I think we stepped up to that challenge and played quite well. And then we had a little bit of a dip, and on my end and our staff end, we've been probably pushing a little bit too hard, trying to get us to our best too early. So we backed off a little bit, today especially, just to give them space to play and feel confident on the court. And so looking to do that a little bit and kind of slowly ramp things up as we get towards the end of the season. But we have a lot more to grow for sure. And I remind Leah often and our other seniors often that they still have space to improve, and I want them to feel that, and but also enjoy their final season and enjoy it together.